Hey, what's up? So let's get our mutation wired up. In the last video, we brought in the mutation and we finished up by writing the toggle complete mutation and the syntax here. We're also just going to add this ID back. Even though we get it as a parameter, let's return it as well. So we return the full to do. And then down here, I'm going to insert this mutation right above the checkbox. You can pass it a mutation prop, and that's just the thing we just wrote, which is toggle complete. I'm going to close off the mutation right below the checkbox. So you have to kind of adapt to using GraphQL with our material UI functions here. So instead of this.handle change being called like that, we're just going to get rid of that. We can delete this.handle change up here. Instead, we'll invoke it right inside these brackets. So as we said before, it takes an event and it takes a check parameter. We can just execute the function right here. And what we'll do is we'll say, one second, this whole thing is going to be enclosed. If we look back at how a mutation is set up, you pass in a function right away to the mutation. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to pass in a function right away to the mutation, and it takes a couple parameters. It takes the name of your mutation, which is toggle complete. You can see that is right here. And it's also going to take optionally, it can also take right here, it can take loading an error off of the data property. And then this function, use parentheses for an automatic return. Inside of there is where we're gonna bring that checkbox up inside of there. So we just bring the checkbox up inside of there like that. Back over. And here, we're getting an error because we're not doing anything with this function. But here, we're going to actually call, we have access to that function now. The toggle complete, and invoke it as a function, passing in an options object. And what you do is you pass in a variables object. You have to define the variables up here, the to-do ID and the complete. So to-do ID, we're going to say we have access, because we're inside of this map statement right here, we have access to to-do.id. And then our second parameter is complete. And we have access to what we want that to be via checked. So that right there gave us access to both the variables we wanted. We're not going to do anything with the event. And I don't know why error looks so weird there, but I'm going to retype it. For some reason, when I copy and paste it, it looks really bizarre. I don't know why I did that again, but it must be something with my font. I have no idea why I did that. And now we're back in our page, and now we're able to click, and we get an immediate response. So a lot of times with more complicated different things, you have to wire up a way to update. This automatically updated it. But if you notice something, if we take the ID off of what's returned here, we no longer get the update. But if we refresh, like, okay, these are checked, we'll check once, uncheck that. It does do the update in the database, but it does not update the UI. So if we put the ID field in, the GraphQL under the hood is going to automatically update for us. We don't have to pass in. There's various things you can do. You can use a cache. There might be an example somewhere on here. Right here, yes, you can use a cache. You can pass in an update prop to the mutation where you can write over the cache. Say you're adding a to-do, you may want to write over the cache, but we're just manipulating data we already have, and it's able to understand that on its own, which is a pretty cool feature. You can also, if you go down to different props for mutation, you can use, there's optimistic response where you can program your UI to do whatever you want it to do before you get the results back. You can do a refetch of the query. So we could pass in the refetch query prop, and we could just tell it manually to refetch this get to do's query, and then we get that updated data. But in this is the most streamlined way to do it, since we don't really have to do anything except pass in the original function, and we're gonna the toggle complete, and it does everything else for us. And we can do, if we wanted to, we could do something with the loading or the error. It happens pretty fast. Maybe we'd want to know if there was some kind of error. I don't know what we'd do exactly. Maybe we'd put an X through the checkbox or do something weird to the checkbox. Indeterminate, maybe. Maybe we could say an error, make it indeterminate. Basically, we'd have to figure out how to send an error into it. That's there. I'm not sure if this will do the right kind of error that we want, but no. We have to have an error occur on the back end. This is not the best example for showing off what an error might do, but we can play around with that later. Maybe if we don't return a to do,